Sci Access, May 10, 2024. Reflections and Perspectives on Teaching an Assistive Technology Course. David L. Jaffe.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. I'm Dave Jaffe. I'm here in beautiful Mountain View at my home. I'm an older adult with gray hair, gray beard, and my blood type is A positive, and you can call me Dave. So let me start my slides. Hope everybody can see my slides. Today I'm going to talk about the course I teach at Stanford. It's called, I'm going to be talking about the course and show you some student projects from the last couple of years. The course is called Perspectives in Assistive Technology. It's a run out of the Mechanical Engineering Department. I finished my 18th year of teaching it. Its enrollment is open to students of every discipline and year at Stanford, and it's approved elective for many majors. There's no background in engineering or assistive technology needed, and there are lots of enrollment options to satisfy lots of students' desires. The main objective of the course is for students to gain an engineering confidence in applying the knowledge and skills that they've learned at Stanford to address real problems in the world with disability. And so we focus on critical thinking, communication skills, working as a team, and interacting with individuals in the local community. The students in pursuit of projects learn about the design, development, and use of technology that benefits people with disabilities and older adults. And there's an element of leadership and organization in what the students do. So summary of the skills: independent and critical thinking, analysis, problem solving, working in a team, working in the community. That's called public service and service learning. And the design process includes designing, fabricating, testing, analyzing, and iterating through the prototyping process. And the students communicate what they've done through reports, presentations, and class descriptions. So this is a slide that I present to the students. It's a different kind of course. There's no homework or problem sets. There's no quizzes, exams, or finals. It's all project-based. There's no textbook. And instead of hearing my voice throughout the entire quarter, I bring in guest lecturers to talk about specific subjects. You know, when I went to school, a lot of the stuff that I learned didn't seem to have a practical application. So avoiding that and having students work on something that is immensely practical, doing something to benefit a person with a disability. And again, there's no exams and nothing to highlight in textbooks. The course is about technology and people and assistive technology in many forms. The students, in pursuit of their project, go through a design development process that is specialized for the course, that includes the most important aspect: understanding the problem. The students do brainstorming, they do prototyping, they test with the individual that they're paired with, they refine and iterate their prototype until the end of the quarter, and they communicate their results. So this is really a preview of what students are going to be doing once they get out of Stanford. So the course structure is twice weekly in-person classroom sessions, and I have guest lectures that include engineers, designers, entrepreneurs, clinicians, people with disability. We go on a field trip to an accessible, inclusive playground nearby. There's a film screening, and I also put on an assistive technology fair. And of course, there's lots of time for thought, reflection, and discussion. The project experience, it occurs outside of the class and includes identifying a problem, which is something that I do prior to the course getting started. And the students work on understanding what the problem is, brainstorming lots of solutions, picking a solution to pursue, designing, fabricating, testing, and reporting, all to benefit individuals in the local community, people who have disabilities or who are older adults. So I hope the students gain an appreciation for all the challenges in developing assistive technologies, and they learn about assistive technology concepts, designing, ethical issues, and interaction of people with technology. The project experience is really important because it involves working with real people who could benefit from assistive technology to identify the challenges that they have, coming up with solutions, testing, doing this iteratively until the course ends, and reporting the results by oral presentations and a written report. So the students use the engineering and design skills that they've learned at Stanford to help people with disabilities increase their independence and improve their quality of life. My mentor professor said that projects are building people. And of course, with any project, you can access it in a problem first way or a technology first way. We work on the challenge first and try to come up with a solution. So these are essentially 8-week prototypes that are made for one specific person. And we don't worry about commercialization in this short period of time. So they need not be ready to market. And low-tech solutions are okay. And that's somewhat dependent upon the students' team's background. Are they engineers? Are they not engineers? What courses are they taking? Can they do hardware and computer software? And again, to make it easy, we seek a solution that will benefit the one identified person. Going through this design process and demonstrating the functionality of their prototype are the top priorities. And so here's the guest lecturers and panelists we've had. Some of them are they're all my colleagues, and some of them are people I work with. Some of these are people at Stanford and the local community. And the project suggestors, these are the people who have a challenge or could offer a challenge for students to work on. If you have a suggestion for a student project that would address a real challenge for a person with a disability or an older adult living in the community, please get in touch with me. It's important that the people that we work with live locally so the students can engage with them. And, I'm going to talk about some of the student projects. And here's a collage of pictures of past students. And I really like reviewing this because these are all students who are smiling, having a good time, enjoying the project that they work with over the years. So it's really good for me to get this kind of response from students. So here I am in the middle of March at the project demo day, burrito in the left hand, and I set up tables outside the classroom, and the students show off their projects to each other and the Stanford community. So here's an example project. Danny has a service dog, but because of his insufficiency in his hands and he uses a wheelchair, he can't open the latch and open the door for the kennel that his service dog sleeps in. So uses a servo motor to unlatch the cage, and there's a stepper motor here to swing the door open, and all he has to do is hit this red button. And there's also a Siri connection, so we can do that by voice as well. This is a lap tray for Danny. This is really interesting. It's sort of hinges in the middle here, and as it's unhinged, it engages the armrest to hold it in place. And the students put their team name and the Stanford logo in the corner in a cup holder device. So that was really well done. At the Magical Bridge Playground, another team looked at the way students were using the slides and the hill, just using cardboards as a way to reduce the coefficient of friction and make their sliding faster. Well, they thought they can come up with a better scheme, so they produced some prototypes. And here's me on the slide having a fun time at the playground. This is a storage solution for Abby, who's a wheelchair user, and she has actually 4 wheelchairs and scooters, and she wanted a storage solution that would fit on all her devices. So this is what the students came up with. Very, very pretty. Also for Abby, she has a service dog, Nathan, and she had a challenge in providing treats promptly to her service dog, Nathan, when he did a good job. So the students 3D printed a treat dispenser that she can use. That worked out really well as well. Here, and from the year before, there's a hydration device for Danny's service dog, Corey. All he has to do is press the side, the water bubbles up here, and the dog knew exactly how to use it. Here's a device that allows Danny to position his phone over the charger, and it's got Stanford icons on there. Here's a 3D printed phone holder for his wheelchair. Here's Danny again, and he has problems accessing the leash because it involves buckles and latches that he can't really use. So students came up with a device that uses magnets both on the dog and on his wheelchair to facilitate attaching that. This is a prosthetic leg covering for Mary. Most of the time she has her leg exposed, but at times she really wants to dress it up. So this is what the students came up with. This is a communication aid for Nathan. Service dogs often have to tell people not to pet the dog because the dog is on the job. So this is a device that she can now use. She presses a button here that she has on her lap or on her wrist, and it sends by Bluetooth audio to the speaker, which could be on the dog or on her wheelchair or other places, to tell people through a recorded voice that the service dog shouldn't be petted as a working dog. Here's Abby, and the students made a really nice acrylic lap tray for her that fastens underneath her seat, and it's can be disassembled and put in her backpack. So these are examples of student projects. And an earlier student project involved brain-computer interface. Here's Gemma using a brain-computer interface that detects blinks, and she set it up to control an on-screen keyboard where the key rows and letter keys are scanned, and when the correct letter is being scanned, the user blinks, and that will select that character to insert that character into an application. That was a few years ago. So in summary, the course is very flexible. It focuses on building confidence, enhancing professional skills. There's lectures, there's project, there's a field trip, there's a fair, there's midterm and final presentations, reports, project demonstrations, lots of participation opportunities. And one thing about assistive technology, there's an never-ending supply of challenges that students can work on. And of course, assistive technology benefits everybody. And we're using examples of assistive technology right now. So here's my contact information, the course website, and my email address. If you have any questions about this, please get in touch with me. I've been doing this for 18 years, so I'm pretty sure I've optimized all the elements of the course. So thank you very much for your for your interest, and let me know if I have time to answer any questions.
Thank you so much, Dave. Thank you so much.
All right.
We do have a couple minutes here because we are going into a break. So we do have a few minutes for a couple questions. You have many, so we might have you answer some via text, but I'll go ahead and ask a few here. The first is from Ashley Shu, who's actually our upcoming keynote address in 15 minutes. Ashley asks, how are you recruiting participants? Are the participants compensated, or do they get to keep the devices that you create with your students?
Right. Well, they do get to keep the devices. I recruit them from the community through networking. Some of the project suggesters are students. Others are people living in the local community. Some can be people who attend the Magical Bridge playground as kids or adults. So there's a variety of possible sources, but it's a challenge for me to come up with projects. And I do this before the class starts so that the students don't have to go out and search for a person with a disability and try to figure out what to do. And are the people compensated? I do serve chocolate chip cookies in class, and I have a dinner for all the guest lecturers and project suggesters halfway through the quarter. I think that's all of the question.
Thank you. We also have a question from Zach Damon, who says, David, can you explain where the data goes from each project? Do you provide this to the assistive tech industry? Also, do you bring in those students with disabilities to test student design prototypes? Great work.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So the projects are listed on my website, and I know that there's students also can submit their projects to student design competitions, and I think there's a few places where students can submit their projects in a forum where people who might have a better chance of commercializing them can interact with the students in their project. But typically, these projects are pretty simple. And of course, people, as I said, the projects are with a specific person with a disability or an older adult. And as a part of the student's project, they fabricate prototypes and test them, with their project suggester during the course. So this is a way to refine the project and to make it fully functional by the end of the quarter.
SciAccess. Learn more at www.sciaccess.org.